Subscribe to Civil Steps YouTube channel. Press bell icon to get latest updates.
Now, before we start today's class, I have given you some handouts. So, before listening to today's class, you have to go through these handouts. And once we have covered our class or finished our class, again you have to go to those handouts. So, what is the purpose of handouts? That in handouts you will get some information, whereas in class I'll discuss the topic in detail. Okay. So, as you know, that current affairs is very vast. So we have to cover a lot of information, lot of content. So in class, my focus will be more on concept clarity and some important facts. Whereas in handout, you will get additional information which is helpful for writing in your exam. Okay. So purpose here is that you have to refer both. If you want to score good marks, we have to do this thing. And that handout which I have given you is not a copy paste, okay, from any source. It is what I have used multiple sources to design those notes. Clear? So don't take those notes lightly, because whatever information mentioned there, all is important. That is each and every line which I have written, that notes I have made myself. Okay. So please refer it if you really want to score good marks. Clear? And I have given you timetable also, that is for this week, and you have a test also, that is on Monday, whatever we'll cover in this week. So you will have to appear for test. So rather than giving questions separately, now what I have planned, that I'll give you questions in a test form which you have to write and submit. Clear? Because I have gone through your questions, what I have realized, that still there are many, you can say, loopholes which we have to overcome. Clear? So this is what, if you read the things holistic manner, then I hope that you are able to overcome those things. But now what I'll say, that right now your answer writing is not what UPSC expect. Clear? So we'll start with today's class. Okay, so today we are going to cover 7 topics. So already I have given you material over that. So we'll start with our first topic, that is interlinking of rivers. So if you see that after, or you can say about 4 decades after conceptualization of this concept, that is interlinking, India's first river interlinking project, that is connecting Ken River in Madhya Pradesh with Betwa in Uttar Pradesh, is finally set to get off the drawing board. Means we have given, this is the first river project, that is for the first time, which has been approved in the, you can say, in year 2020. Clear? So conceptualized, that is, it is conceptualized in 1980s. This ambitious river linking project failed to get off the drawing board, primarily because of differences between the two states over water sharing during non monsoon season. Funding issues are there, and regulatory clearances. So these are some of the concerns. That is why this project is, you can say, this such ambitious project is not able to get passed. Now, work on the project was originally slated to start in 2015. Okay, so 2015, where we started some movement in our work with respect to this project. Now the project got a fresh push later year with Narendra Modi government making a revised deal with the two states specifying the quantum of water to be shared by them. That is your UP and Madhya Pradesh. Ken Betwa project. Now the project has also seen stiff opposition from environmentalists and opposition leader. So if you see that interlinking of river program is of national importance and has been taken up on high priority. Now the mission of this program is to ensure greater equity in the distribution of water by enhancing the availability of water in drought prone and rain fed area. So under the national perspective plan, this is the, you can say, before calling it national interlinking river project, we used to call it national perspective plan, which is prepared by Ministry of Water Resources, and there itself it is your National Water Development Authority. So under this plan we have identified 14 links under Himalayan river components and 16 links under peninsular river components, that is for inter basin transfer of water based on field survey and investigation and detailed studies. So out of these, if you see that we have feasibility report of 14 links under peninsular component and 2 links under Himalayan component have been prepared. So draft feasibility report of 7 link projects of Himalayan component have also been completed. So if you see that with respect to feasibility report, we have done some work. Okay, so you have to remember for how many rivers report has been there. Now the Ministry of Jal Shakti will now get the public investment board approval for implementing the project as a national project. Now once this project is cleared, so in your Ministry of Jal Shakti there is public investment board that will give approval to this project. Clear? So earlier your water resource is there, now it is known as Ministry of Jal Shakti. Okay, so once this project has been given an approval and considered as a national project, now what is the advantage of this? Now once it is national project, center will bear 90% of the cost for that project and remaining 10% will be shared among the states. Okay, so like if in Ken Betwa, it will be shared between your UP and Madhya Pradesh, that is 10%. Now if you see the advantage of interlinking of rivers, so first that it will reduce your droughts. So river linking will be a solution to recurring droughts in Bundelkhand region. So if I talk about Ken Betwa, although whatever we are discussing here, we are discussing with respect to whatever project that has been given approval. Okay, so in general, if project gets approval, that all projects, so it will solve the problem of drought. Okay, so we focus right now on Ken Betwa because this is the only project which has been given approval. Clear? Now second, farmers benefit. It will curb the rate of farmer suicide and will ensure them stable livelihood by providing sustainable means of irrigation and reducing excessive dependence on groundwater. Third importance is that is with respect to electricity production. Now it will not only accelerate the water conservation by, you can say, construction of a multi-purpose dam, but will also produce 103 megawatt of hydropower and will supply drinking water to 62 lakh people. So this is about your Ken Betwa. So in general also, for all also, there will be electricity production and drinking water availability. Okay. Now it will rejuvenate biodiversity. So few are of the view that introduction of dams inside the water scarce region of Panna Tiger Reserve will rejuvenate the forest of the reserves, that in turn will pave the way for rich biodiversity in the region. Although this is one thing with respect to Ken Betwa river linking project, where it is said that once this project will be there, so there are so many forest reserve in between this, you can say, Ken Betwa. So that forest reserve will get water. So it will rejuvenate the biodiversity. But there is other concern also that it will impact. If I talk about some other interlinking project apart from Ken Betwa, it will impact the biodiversity or it will displace the biodiversity. Clear? So we have to see with respect to all. Okay, so right now we have Ken Betwa. So chances are that your examiner will ask you with respect to your Ken Betwa. Okay. Now there are some issues also, as I told you, environmental. First issue, that is because of certain environmental and wildlife conservation concerns like passing of the project through critical tiger habitat of Panna Tiger Reserve, the project is stuck in for the approval from NGT, that is our National Green Tribunal, and other higher authorities. Okay, so maybe that there will be environment delay. Now, if you see that with respect to economic parameter, so there is a huge economic cost attached with the project implementation and maintenance, which has been rising due to delay in project implementation. Apart from this, there is some social concerns like reconstruction rehabilitation caused due to displacement. That is when project is there, so there will be displacement of some people resulting from the implementation of the project will involve social cost as well. So this is about your interlinking. Now we'll see or understand some economic aspect more in detail. Okay. So first we'll see with respect to agriculture. So you know that India is largely agrarian country. More than 70% of population of the country depend upon agriculture for its livelihood. Now, floods and droughts are common every year. Now, this is what keeps a major part of the country locked in poverty. And if the river interlinking project is somehow completed, the extent of irrigation in the country will grow manifold. And more irrigation would create more fertile land. Hence, the crop production would increase manifold, that is, you can say multiple times, if this idea were become a success. The best part is that the people in the water surplus region will not be impacted since they will still receive the water that they need. However, people in the deficient region will get more water or will have the availability of water. Now, this will enable them to grow more crops and move up the economic ladder. So, this is a good economic aspect with respect to your agriculture. Interlinking is good. Now, hydroelectricity. Once the water is routed from one river to another, the need for an extensive man made irrigation network becomes inevitable. This irrigation network would mean the construction of several dams. Now, in the basic plan that were drawn up for interlinking India's river, the construction of more than 3,000 dams was envisaged. If so, many dams are constructed across the nation and they will be expected to hold water. So they can be used to generate electricity when the water is supposed to be held. Okay, hence the production of hydroelectricity is bound to increase. The river interlinking project would not only solve the water shortage but also the electricity shortage which is faced by several parts of rural India. So again, this is a good thing. If I see with respect to economy that hydro projects will be there and our reliance or dependence on coal will be reduced. Now, next is with respect to displacement. If I talk, the economic benefit from river interlinking project are still distant, or you can say are a good one. However, the costs are immediate. Now, the large scale engineering projects will have to be undertaken at several locations in the country. This means that government will have to acquire land and clear the way for the project. Now, this will lead to the displacement of a lot of people who are currently occupying those land. Okay, and the cost of rehabilitating these people are immense. Also, these costs have to be borne immediately, whereas the benefits are uncertain and far into the future. So, this is what a concern. So, we have seen with respect to agriculture or hydroelectricity, this interlinking project is good, but when it comes to displacement, this this interlinking project is not good. Now, with respect to climate change, again, many environmentalists are criticizing the plan because it does not take climate change into account. Now, the slow process of climate change may make the plan completely useless in about 5 decades. For instance, the underlying assumption of this plan is that there are rivers in India which have surplus water, and most of the rivers which have been identified as having surplus water are Himalayan river. So they receive their surplus water from the glaciers melt in the Himalayan region. However, because of global warming, the size of these glaciers is decreasing every year, and several years later there might be no excess rivers in the nation. Hence, this plan of diverting water from one place to another might completely fail. In fact, it may lead to political unrest among the different regions. So, if the assumption of climate change is indeed true, the river interlinking project will end up increasing poverty instead of alleviating it. So, this is the another side of, you can say, or you can say, a drawback of interlinking, that it will boost poverty. Okay, so we have discussed how. Now, to sum up, we can say river interlinking is a very risky project. Not only are there environmental risk but also economic risk. Now, this is the reason why earlier government were shying away from the project. Now, this project will either benefit the economy tremendously or will cause havoc. So, there is no middle ground as far as this project is concerned. So, is this good economics or bad science fiction? Only time will tell. Clear? So, this is about your interlinking of river project. So, we have discussed with respect, or we have analyzed with respect to our economic perspective as well as other perspective, so that if question comes, now you are ready to write with respect to your, you can say, your economic perspective, or I can say the question will come in geography part, then also you can write how it is beneficial and how it is not beneficial. Okay.